Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for joining. Thank you for visiting. I am going to be continuing with yesterday's message about being pursued by God, and today's topic is give up and give in. So it's just a continuation. Yesterday we looked at how God pursues us through the thick and the thin, and when we, have gone astray, as the Israelites did, he still wooed them back. Even from their exile, even when they were in exile, he was still talking of them as his children, Jacob. So you can go back and look at that. Today I'll be looking at Psalm 139. Psalm 139, it says, O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Thou knowest my down sitting and mine uprising. Thou understandest my thought afar off. It's just to demonstrate how intimately God already knows us, even though, we think he doesn't. Thou compassest my path and my lying down, and art acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but lo, O Lord, thou knowest it altogether. Thou hast beset me behind and before, and laid thine hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain unto it. Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee. For thou hast possessed my reins, thou hast covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. My substance was not hid from thee, when I was made in secret, and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect, and in thy book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God, how great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with thee. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. Do I not hate them, O Lord, and hate that hate thee? And am not I grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Now, isn't it interesting, after you read this psalm, how ridiculous it would be for us to actually think that God does not exist, while in his word it says how he knit us in our mother's womb. And even worse still, for us not to acknowledge him and not to walk with him or give ourselves up to him, because clearly he knows us too well. Even the thoughts he has for us. Can you imagine somebody who's thinking about you already is a compliment. This is the God of the universe who has all these people that are under his care, still can think about one person as an individual. Yeah. And he has thoughts for us. He has plans for us, as many as the sand. They're too marvelous, too much for us to think, to even be able to count the sum of his thoughts on us. Now that's a caring God. Someone who plans for you, who thinks of you, cares about you. It says, David says, even if he was to lay his bed in Sheol, God would still be there, because darkness is as light about God. Even darkness is not dark to thee. The night is bright as the day, for darkness is as light with thee. So it's really a question of, if you're running away from God, it's a question of running away from what you cannot run away from. It is not possible to be away from God's presence. Thou dost beset me behind and before, and layest thy hand upon me. It shows that God's presence is upon us. I mean, he's around us. He's everywhere. We cannot hide from him. Even before a word was in my tongue, O Lord, lo, thou knowest it altogether. He knows what we are thinking. Even before we think about it, he knows what we are thinking. Thou searchest out my path and my lying down. He searches our hearts. He knows our hearts so intimately. We cannot lie to God about anything. We can't even try to. Of course, he knows where you are at any one given time. He knows our location, both spiritually and physically. He knows when we sit and when we rise, and he discerns our thoughts. So God is indeed everywhere, and he is indeed overall responsible for our lives. He's the one that is crafting every step of our way. He has already counted our days. He has already written. In verse 16 it says, the eyes beheld my unformed substance. In the book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me. God knows everything about you, cover to cover, A to Z. And when you feel like you don't understand yourself, he understands you more than anybody. It doesn't hurt to go and talk to somebody who knows you, because you already know they'll understand you, and that's God. He already knows you in and out. For thou didst form my inward part, thou didst knit me together in my mother's womb. Yeah, I praise you, for thou art fearful and wonderful. Wonderful are thy works. So wonderful are the works of God. We are his creation. We are wonderful. Anybody that hates themselves ought to know that he is fearful and wonderful. And therefore, wonderful are his works, according to verse 14 of Psalm 139. And he knows us right well. He has possessed our reins. He's possessed even the invisible parts of us. He knows us through and through. So this is really just a call for us to give up trying to run away from God. Just give up the run, because there's nowhere to run. I mean, David says that there's nowhere to run. And God has open arms towards us. He wants to show us around his own kingdom, to show us what it really looks like to live, and live fully in accordance to his will and the purposes that he created us for. Remember, he has marked our days. He has thoughts for us. And that is why this whole series is available, because it exists, because we know that we all have a purpose. And getting into our Canaan is really getting into our purpose. So this series about coming into your purpose is really about tapping into God's thoughts about you and what you should be doing for him here on earth. What is it that he's called you to do? What has he called you to manifest on his behalf? And it says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. This is our posture, really. It should be of total surrender. We should surrender our thoughts to God. We should give him our heart. Just give God your heart. Try it today. And I pray that God will reveal himself to you, even as you give yourself up to him, bit by bit, one day at a time, step by step, one day at a time, moment by moment. So the Lord knows you and he cares about you. Why don't you just give yourself over to him? So Lord, I want to thank you for everybody that is going to watch this video and is going to be a part of it and connect with it from their heart, from the bottom of their heart. And I pray that they are going to truly believe in you and surrender to you. Amen. Amen. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.